Right now, there's a good chance you're fighting a craving. Maybe it's the chocolate in the drawer. Maybe it's the idea of something sweet after dinner. You know you don't need it. You might have even promised yourself you'd skip it today. And yet, that quiet little pull is still there. You do this constantly. You reach for the sweet thing. You feel a flicker of guilt. You wonder why you have no willpower. But here's the truth. It was never about willpower. That craving is one of the oldest forces inside you. It's older than money, older than farming, older than cities, older than our species. Your sweet tooth was already ancient before the first human ever walked the earth. And for almost all of that time, it wasn't a weakness. It was the thing keeping you alive. The question is, how did something so good for us turn into something we now fight every single day? Let's go back, and I mean really far back. Long before humans, to a world ruled by apes living in the trees. Picture the deep past, tens of millions of years ago. Your distant ancestors are small primates, and their whole life is a desperate hunt for one thing: energy, calories, fuel to survive. And in a forest, the richest, fastest source of energy is fruit. Not just any fruit, ripe fruit. Because here's the thing an ape's body figured out long ago. Ripe fruit is sweeter. And sweeter means more sugar. And more sugar means more energy to run, to climb, to escape, to survive. So evolution did something clever. It made sweetness feel good. The apes that loved the taste of ripe fruit ate more of it, had more energy, and lived to have more babies. The ones that didn't care about sweetness, they lost the race. Every ancestor in your line was one who chased the sweet stuff. But it goes deeper than taste, because there was a problem. In the forest, ripe fruit was rare. It was scattered, it was seasonal, and it was gone fast. You couldn't just walk to a tree and grab it whenever you wanted. So your ancestors evolved a second trick. And this is where it gets interesting. Scientists like Richard Johnson, who studies the biology of sugar, point to something that happened around 15 million years ago. A time of global cooling, when food became dangerously scarce. And in that period of near starvation, a mutation appeared. A change that made our ancestors extremely sensitive to fructose, one of the two sugars in fruit. Here's why that mattered. Glucose, one type of sugar, gets burned quickly for energy. But fructose does something different. Fructose tells your body, store this, turn it into fat, save it for later. Think about that. When food might vanish tomorrow, a body that grabs every scrap of sugar and packs it away as fat isn't unhealthy. It's brilliant. It's survival insurance. The ancestors who could hoard energy from a lucky handful of berries were the ones who made it through the next famine. You are descended from the world's best fat storers. Congratulations. And your ancestors got even better at finding the sweet stuff. Around 30 million years ago, primates developed something we still use today: full color vision. The ability to see reds and oranges against green leaves. Why does that matter? Because it let them spot ripe, sweet fruit from a distance. Your ability to see a red apple across a room is, in part, an ancient sugar detector built into your eyes. So now you've got a body wired in 3 ways. It craves sweetness, it stores sugar as fat, and it can spot sugar on sight. A perfect machine for surviving a world where energy was scarce and every calorie was precious. And here's what makes this so important. For millions of years, this system was flawless because there was a natural break on it. Sugar was rare. Apart from honey, almost nothing your ancestors ate was truly sweet. Most of their food was about as sugary as a carrot. So when the craving screamed, "Eat all of it, right now," that was fine. There wasn't much to eat. You'd find a berry bush, binge on it, and then not see anything that sweet for weeks. The craving and the world were in perfect balance. And we know just how precious sugar was. Anthropologists who study the Hadza, a modern hunter-gatherer group in Tanzania, found something striking. Their most prized food in the entire world isn't meat, it's honey. Above everything else, they treasure the one pure hit of sweetness nature offers. That's how valuable sugar was for almost all of human history. It was treasure. So your brain treated it like treasure. When you eat something sweet, your brain releases dopamine, the same feel-good chemical tied to pleasure and reward. The same circuits that light up with gambling or a phone notification. Sugar didn't just feed you, it rewarded you. It hooked you. And being hooked on the rarest, most valuable energy source around, that was a survival superpower. For millions of years, this was one of the smartest systems evolution ever built. And then, in the blink of an eye, we broke it. Because a few thousand years ago, we invented farming. And then, much more recently, we got very, very good at making sugar. We learned to extract it, refine it, and pour it into almost everything. The rare treasure your ancestors risked bee stings to find, it's now on every shelf in every aisle, cheaper than water. But here's the problem. Your body has no idea any of that happened. Your genes are still running the ancient program, the one that says sugar is rare, sugar is precious, eat all of it while you can, and store every bit as fat for the famine that's surely coming. That program took millions of years to write, and it has no update for a world where the famine never comes. So the craving fires just like it always did. But now there's no natural break, no scarcity, no walking for miles to find one bush. Just endless, cheap, engineered sweetness, feeding an instinct that was built for a world that no longer exists. So here's the full picture. Tens of millions of years ago, apes learned to love sweet fruit because sweet meant energy. 15 million years ago, a mutation taught our bodies to store that sugar as fat because famine was always coming. 30 million years ago, color vision let us spot the sweetness from far away. For millions of years, it all worked because sugar was rare and precious. Your brain rewarded the craving with a hit of pleasure because chasing sugar kept you alive. And then, in a heartbeat of history, we flooded the world with the very thing we were built to hunt for. Your sweet tooth isn't a flaw. It's a survival tool that worked too well in a world that changed too fast. So the next time you feel that little pull towards something sweet and you're tempted to call yourself weak, don't. You're not weak. You're carrying an instinct that kept your ancestors alive for millions of years. It's just that the world finally gave your ancient brain everything it ever wanted. And it turns out, getting everything you were built to crave was never part of the plan. Something to chew on.